So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper of the day. We will try to understand the important article. When we talk about the current affairs, newspaper become an important part of your journey when you are preparing for any kind of competitive exam, or otherwise also if you are aware citizen, it is imperative for you to have a knowledge of what is going around in the surroundings. So this newspaper reading, or you can say the analysis of newspaper, will give you an in-depth knowledge of what you are or where you are living. Okay, so anyways, so we will start with the discussion. We will be starting with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture, and then we will be moving to the facts of the day. After that, we will talk about the important articles, that is important, the India China reach on an agreement. So we will be talking about that. What kind of agreement we are talking about over here? So when we talk about the border issues, or the issue which has happened in 2020, after 2020 there has been regularly these diplomatic level talks, or military you can say military level talks. These are basically going on to make sure that there is this de-escalation which follows after the issues. Okay, in that you can say procedure, they have come up with the, you can say, resolution on the patrolling issue. Whenever we have talked about the India and China, I have always mentioned that there is this issue of patrolling which was there on the, you can say, western sector and mostly on the eastern sector. Middle sector is not very much you can say active, but on that regard we will be talking about the agreement which they have reached with respect to the patrolling. Okay, so there is, you can say that there is a hope in the future as well. Moving further, banks may borrow more. So when we talk about the banks, we have seen in the previous last time whenever we have talked about the banks, we have seen that they are actually, lendings are increasing, or you can say the loans they are giving which is increasing, but the deposits in the bank, that is decreasing. So we will be looking at that article as well. And then we have this Z Mode tunnel. Okay, Z Mode tunnel, that is there in Jammu and Kashmir. Recently we have seen that there was this terror attack which has happened. Okay, and because of which this Z Mode tunnel was in news, so we will be talking about that. Okay, so with that, let's start with the discussion. We will be seeing the practice question first. So the question was, what is the primary function of amylase? Okay, breaking down the protein, break down fats, break down starch into sugar, or break down vitamins. We have seen that amylase is helpful in your digestion. The moment you enter your food inside your mouth with this particular enzyme, okay, we start to, you can say, break the food, or the process of digestion starts. So the main function of amylase is breaking down the starch into sugar. Option C is your right answer. Okay, now let's move further. See over here, if we talk about the facts, key facts about Pali language, origin of Pali. If recently Pali language was in news because you know that there are certain languages which has been given the classical status. Okay, so regarding that, Pali was in news, and since you know that Pali language is associated with the Buddhism, okay, Jainism, etc. Mostly Buddhism, you can say. Jainism has much of the Prakrit touch over there, but thing is, at that point of time, after this Maurya period, we have seen that there was this Pali language which was there in the Mauryan periods and the post Mauryan period. Okay, so that is why it has been given the classical status, and we will be seeing some facts because there are chances that they might ask you about the language itself. Okay, looking at the origin, you can say that it is belonging to Indo-European language family. Okay, there are various you can say, we have Dravidian language family, we have this Indo-European language family. When we talk about Sanskrit, etc., they are more related to the Indo-European. Okay, then when we talk about the South Indian languages like Tamil, etc., they are from the Dravidian language. Okay, anyway, initially Pali was thought to be identical with the Magadhi. Magadhi is the language of Magad. You know that Magad is the, you must have heard about the Magad Samrajya or Magad Empire. Okay, that is the empire which was there in the areas of Ganga Doab areas. Okay, Ganga Jamuna Doab area, or you can say UP, Bihar, and some parts of Jharkhand, etc. This was the area basically understood as the Magad. Okay, so modern day Bihar, Patliputra, Rajgir, these were the part of Magad Empire. Okay, so it was initially thought that it is having some kind of identical, or you can say some kind of similar features with the Magadhi language. Later on, it was the recent studies, these are saying that it has stronger ties with the Prakrit. Okay, now Prakrit is also one of the language which was prominent in the Western India. You must have seen that when we talk about the Ashokan inscription etc., they were written in Prakrit language, okay, and Prakrit has the script that is Kharoshti or Brahmi script which was there, okay. Now talking about the classical languages, the Union Cabinet has approved the recognition of Pali along with Prakrit, Marathi, Assamese and Bengali as a classical state, classical languages, which we have already seen, okay. Connection with the Ashoka, Emperor Ashoka's inscriptions were written in Pali, especially in the modern day Uttar Pradesh, okay. So these inscriptions were there in Pali, most of them, but there is use of Prakrit language as well in the, when we are talking about the Western India and beyond, okay. Then connection with Buddhism, Pali is the language of three Theravada Buddhist canons, that is Vinay Patak, Sutta Patak and Abhidham Pitak. Now when we talk about the Vinay Patak or Abhidham Pitak or Sutta Patak, these are certain books or you can say code of conducts which were there with respect to the Sangh etc. okay, and the teachings of Buddha. These were compiled into these three documents, okay. So please remember these documents as well, because that has been asked earlier and there are chances that that can be asked in the future as well, okay. And they are, you can say, basically the documents from the Theravada. This is a sect in Buddhism which is there, okay. So this is about the facts which are related to Pali language that can be asked to you. Now let's move further to the next discussion. We have discussed almost all parts. We have finished emergency, we have talked about the amendments. Now there are two parts, that is temporary transition and the special provision, and short title commencement and the authoritative, which you can go through, okay, and you can have an idea because there is nothing much to talk about in that. So we will be going to the next best thing, that is the amendments in the constitution, okay. Okay, hello everyone. So moving further, we will be talking about the these amendments in the constitution. If you have any kind of doubt, you can directly put in the comment box. I will try to address that, okay. Anyways, now first amendment act 1951. Now why do we need amendments and why how it can be done, we have seen in the last lecture wherein we have talked about the amendments. Now we will be seeing that how many amendments were there, okay, and you can say which amendment has talked about what. We are not going through all the 103 amendments. We will be talking about the special amendments which are important for our examination, okay. So let's see, first and last is always important. So let's see the first one here, okay. It empowered the state to make special provision for the advancement of the socially and the economically backward classes, okay. So basically here this is the amendment which gives you a power related to the affirmative actions, or you can say positive action of state with respect to the socially and the economically weaker sections or the backward sections, okay. So here you can see somehow the policies like reservation etc., they have seen their origin from this, okay. No doubt there was, you can say, provisions which were there in the, you can say, constitution, but we have, when we talk about the added clause, like when we talk about the 15 clause 4 and 5, okay, that is there. Then in the 16 article 16 also we have some clause which were added later, okay. So that is what they are talking about. Then moving further, provided for the saving of law, providing for acquisition of the state. Earlier you must have heard that there was this right to property. Now right to property means that a person can have property as much as he wants, okay. Now if the state has to take the property, take away the property, that is the violation of fundamental right. Now state cannot do that, okay. Then comes the land reforms. Land reform schemes, or otherwise also state wanted to acquire a particular property and the individual is not willing to give it, that particular individual can directly go to the Supreme Court under article 32, okay. Considering that, they have brought an amendment wherein they have said that there are certain laws which they will put under the 9th schedule, and in that particular schedule whatever laws are there, they cannot be challenged in the court of law, okay. So basically there was this immunity from the judicial review which was given under the schedule 9, okay. Now here you can see, provided for the saving of the law, providing for acquisition of the state. Now if the government is coming up with a law which is talking about the acquisition of the state of a particular person or the acquisition of the property of a particular person, and they have put this law under schedule 9, that means that that particular person cannot go to the court, okay. So that was done over there. They have added 9th schedule to protect the land reforms and other laws included in it from the judicial review. So basically here you can see that they have added the 9th schedule to protect from the judicial review, okay. Then article 31A, 31B, these are the restrictions which are there, which, or you can say, these are certain exceptions to the fundamental rights which are there in article 31A and 31B, okay. Now we have added 3 more grounds of restrictions on the freedom of speech and expression, that is public order, friendly relation with the foreign state, and the incitement of an offence. Now these are certain things. If you are doing this, if you are inciting an offence, that cannot be considered as a freedom of speech, that is going against the law, and that is why this is a reasonable restriction. Okay. Second thing is public order. In the name of your freedom, you cannot go and harm the public order and safety. Okay, so that was another reasonable restriction which was added over here. Then we have the friendly relations with the foreign state. Now there is a state, or you can say country, that is Nepal. You cannot say something which hurts the sentiments of Nepalis, or you can say which hurts the sentiment of Nepal in such a way that the bilateral ties between two friendly nations can be that you can say depreciated, or the there is some kind of problem, there is some rise in the tension because of the statement like that. Okay, so these are certain reasonable restrictions which were added in the you can say your article to the article 19, that is freedom of speech and expression. Okay, also it made the restrictions reasonable and thus judiciable in the nature. Okay, now this term reasonable is not very, you can say it is an open ended term. Okay, you can assume it to be anything. Okay, so that is why these are justiciable in the nature, so they can be asked or the question in the court of law. Okay, anyway, now we can move further with the next topic, that is basically our first article of the day, that is related to India and China. There was this agreement that in the legacy issues like the Spang Plains, okay, and Demchok area, in these areas India and China now they can go for the you can say patrollings. Okay, earlier what used to happen is that there was not this particular provision for the patrolling, because before 2020 there was this mutual understanding that there will be patrolling. Okay, and that was there. After 2020, after the Galwan issue, there was this resentment among the forces from the both the side, and the Chinese side has actually tried to restrict the patrollings. Okay, and we did not want to escalate the things over there, and that is why there was this hindrance in the patrolling. And now both of the side, not only the Chinese side, because since there was this issues going on, both of the sides they have hindered each other's patrolling. Now on the legacies issues like Demchok or the Spang Plains etc., so they have decided that now they will be going for the patrolling over there. Okay, right now they are talking about the patrolling in the areas which are legacy issues. We will be talking about that. First I will let you know the situation, or you can say the map of the region. When if I will be talking about something, then you should understand what is Depsang Plain, and when we talk about the Demchok, what should where is Demchok located. Okay, now see, this is the area. We know that this part is illegally occupied by China, that is your you can say Exai Chin region. Okay, we have LAC which is running along over here, and that is why there are certain conflict points which are actually along the LAC only. Okay, now here you can see this is Daulat Beg Oldie. Daulat Beg Oldie is significant for us. Daulat Beg Oldie is important and strategic for us because this is the place where India's high altitude airstrip is located. Now if something happens, some military action happens in this particular region, you cannot depend on the land roads etc. for the supply. Okay, and that is why we are having this airstrip over here, that is world's highest altitude airstrip, which is located in Daulat Beg Oldie, and that airstrip is important for us. Okay, so that is why the safety of this particular area, that is Daulat Beg Oldie, is important. Okay, other than that also there are certain highways. Okay, Darbuk Shok Daulat Beg Oldie highway, which we have talked earlier as well. Okay, so that these highways are also important for the troop movements etc. Okay, so that is there. Now this region is called as the Depsang Plains. Okay, so in Depsang Plains we have a place that is Daulat Beg Oldie, and where we have an airstrip. Okay, so that is why this area is important. Now Depsang Plain is you can say an area which is just along the LAC, and that is why the patrolling was an issue over here. Okay, coming to the next one, here you can see this is the Galwan area. Galwan is the area where 2020 we have seen that there was this Galwan clashes which has happened, that is the Galwan over here. Okay, then we have hot spring somewhere over here. Then this area you can see there is this lake. Okay, that lake is basically your Pangong Tso lake. Mostly you will be seeing that some part of lake is there in India, most of them that is there in China. Okay, now this Pangong Tso lake, there is this north bank, we have south bank. So these two banks are also issue, or you can say point of contention. Okay, moving further south, we have this area over here, that is your Demchok area. Now Demchok and the Depsang Plains, these are your legacy issues. Okay, these are the issues which were there before Galwan as well. Okay, so that is why that becomes important. Now they are saying that to this particular point and to this particular area they can go for the patrolling. Both the, you can say, parties can go for the patrolling. They will be exchanging the schedule, okay, and schedule are such that once at one point there will be one party patrolling, because otherwise there are chances that there can be some kind of aggression or the crashes, okay. So that is there. Other than that, there are certain areas which are there in Arunachal Pradesh. When we talk about this LAC sector over here, that is basically your western sector, okay. After that we have middle sector. Middle sector is mostly the areas of Himachal Pradesh and the Uttarakhand, wherein you will see that not much of the problems are there, okay, because obviously there are certain you can say population which is living there, and this population is identifying themselves as you can say Indian, so obviously China cannot do anything about it. Now when we are talking about this particular area, these are remote areas, okay, not much population is there, or you can say very less density of population is there, okay, and that is why they had the opportunity, or the void is there for them to, you know, show some kind of aggression over here. Similar is the case in the Arunachal Pradesh, that is your eastern sector, okay. So we have LAC which is divided into 3 sectors, okay. Now coming to the article, let's see. Have arrived at an arrangement leading to disengagement, says Foreign Secretary, creates basis for the pre-2020, that is Jaishankar, okay. Pre-2020, that is that point of time we only had the legacy issues, that is Demchok and Depsang, okay. Now here you can say India China reaches an agreement on patrolling along LAC, stage set for the Modi and Xi meeting at BRICS summit. We know that we had this meeting, that is 22 to 25, I guess, or somewhere around like this. We are going for the BRICS meeting, okay, that is happening in Kazan in Russia, okay. Before that they have come up with this solution, so that is a one good thing which you can say. Now here you can see, more than 4 years after the Chinese incursion in the eastern Ladakh triggered a military standoff along the line of actual control and sent bilateral ties south, basically there was this tension which has increased. India and China have reached an agreement on the patrolling arrangement in the border areas, leading to disengagement in the areas where 50,000 to 60,000 troops were stationed, okay. So there was this military you can say presence which was there, nearly 50,000 to 60,000 people were there. So ultimately we are saying that now this can be a good thing with respect to the deploy, you can say de-acceleration in the area, okay. Now setting the stage for the meeting between the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the 2-day BRICS summit that is happening in starting Tuesday, that is today, in Kazan, capital of the, you can say, Tatarstan, okay, that is there in Russia. So basically in Russia, in Kazan, we are having BRICS summit which is starting today, and we have set the stage for that. Here you can see patrolling rights on the Despang plains and Demchong to be restored, and will closely be coordinating in the next parts. Here you can say rekindling the hope of early restoration of diplomatic and the bilateral political ties. These can happen if the two sides are able to implement the next steps towards the de-escalation and the demilitarization, okay. So we can say that this particular step is seen as a hope in the, you can say, way forward, that is your de-escalations, okay. Now let's look at some pointers which we have already discussed. India and China has agreed to restore patrolling rights in the Depsang plains and, you can say, Demchok regions, areas long standing dispute before 2020 standoff. These are called as legacy issues because these are there before the Galwan issue there as well, okay. Patrolling will be allowed to up to the previous patrolling points, that is PP10 and PP13, that is patrolling point 10 and 13 in the Depsang plains and the Karding Nala, that is there in Demchok. Both sides will coordinate patrolling schedules and exchange the patrol programs to avoid clashes with patrols consisting of 14 to 15 soldiers, okay. Then Galwan Valley and the Pangong Tso friction points where buffer zones were created 2 years ago will remain unchanged. So right now they are talking about the patrolling in these two areas only, okay, and the Galwan and the Pangong Tso where buffer zones has been created, that will stay the way they are right now, okay. Now confidence building measures will be there. When we talk about these two countries, the most problem is basically your confidence building, okay. Now the thing is, China don't trust us, we don't trust China, and we cannot trust China because the world does not. Okay, China says one thing, does another thing, and shows another thing. Okay, so that is why there is this issue of confidence building or the trust building between the two countries. So they will be trying to build that as well, such as monthly CO or the commander level meetings will continue to reduce the mistrust. Okay, then overall troop deployment along the LAC will be reduced as part of the Indian Army's winter plan in Ladakh. When we talk about the winter plan, you know that these are the areas which are snow covered areas. So because of which in the winters we go for some kind of reduction in the troops over there. Okay, so that is we are having a winter plan over there. The agreement on the patrolling rights rekindles hope for the restoration of diplomatic and the political ties between the two nations. The Depsang Plains is strategically important due to its proximity to the Daulat Beg Oldie post and the flat terrain which is suitable for the military offensive. As I already told that the Depsang Plains, these Daulat Beg Oldie, why these are important for us. Okay, then the bottleneck at the Depsang Plains, a key connectivity point, will be under the increased attention. Now we have discussed the issue, we have discussed the map. Now this map becomes even more important for you, so please go through this. Other than that, also make sure that whenever there is this issue with respect to Ladakh or anything else, you make sure that the maps are to the point and you are aware of all these maps. Okay, anyways, now we can move further to the next article, that is talking about banks may have to borrow more as deposit growth slows down, says the Fitch rating. Now we have earlier discussed that the lending or the bank which is going for the loan giving etc., that is increasing because there is the you can say demand which is there in the market of the loans. Why? Because they are going for the investment. Everyone wants, if we want to push the investment, that means that we have to give money to the market. Okay, so that is happening over there. But the thing is, banks will be giving you loans from where they have to rely on the deposits or their assets which are there. Okay, but the problem is these assets are not growing or the deposits are not growing anymore. There is this decline, you can say. Okay, so how banks will be going for the further lending? So that is how they are saying that banks may have to borrow. Okay, now if you, there are two things, either you can go for the, you can say, increasing in the cost of the loan. Okay, so let's see, let's say banks are giving loans and loans are increasing. So what bank can do is that they can increase the interest rates. Okay, if they increase the interest rate, if you have to pay high interest on the loans, there are high chances that people might stop taking loans, or you can say there will be a discouragement among the people to go for the taking any kind of loan because the interest rate is high, that loan will cost more. Okay, now that is one thing. But if you do that, there will be a decline in the investment in the country. Okay, so what is the other option? That banks can go for borrowing and then banks can give the loan. Okay, now that is you can say structural problem. Okay, if something like that is happening, because banks itself are borrowing and giving the loans, what if the people go for the default? How will you manage that? Okay, so that was something, a concern which has been raised by the Fitch over here. Let's say Indian banks may need to increase borrowing due to the slowing deposit growth as per the Fitch rating. Now why there is this slowing deposit growth? Okay, since you know that banks are not providing that much of a return when we talk about the deposits. So obviously when you are depositing your money in the bank, in the return you are expecting that there will be a good amount of interest which will be generated. But the thing is, banks are not giving that kind of interest anymore because of the situations in the economy. Now what will you do now? So obviously you will try to see what other alternatives you are having. Okay, so you will go for the investments in the gold. Okay, or you can go in the investment in the mutual funds, stocks, okay, or other kind of investments which are available in the market. So basically you will be driving away from the deposits, you will be going for the other schemes. Okay, when we talk about the mutual funds etc., they are giving you, you can say, returns nearly as a 20% or something. Banks are giving you interest of nearly 6 to at max 7%. Okay, so obviously the people or who are having some kind of you can say savings in the household, they are basically going for the mutual funds, gold or the stock, but not for the deposits. Now deposits are the source from which bank will get the money, they will invest it somewhere else or they will be giving it as a loan so that they can earn the interest, but that is not happening right now. Okay, now see, banks loan to deposit ratio, that is loan to deposit, whatever deposit that they are having with respect to that what kind of loans they are giving. Okay, loan to deposit ratio has sharply risen, because obviously if the loans are increasing and the deposit is decreasing, that means that that ratio will jump up, shoot up. Okay, creating a potential structural issue if the deposit growth continue to lag, you can say, the loan growth. Okay, so ultimately they are saying that if deposits are not coming and you are giving the loans, ultimately there are high chances that you might not able to sustain this kind of system. So that is why it is an structural issue. Okay, now factors contributing to the slower deposit growth includes the low return on the deposits, inflationary pressure and a shift in the deposit preferences toward the market investment, which we have already seen. Okay, now moving further, there are other some points. Term deposit rates have increased by 233 points, that is 2.34% since March 2022, but low cost deposit rates still are stable. Okay, so when we are talking about these term deposits, they have increased the rates, but the low cost deposits are still having the same issues. Now 10% increase in the bank's borrowing within the funding mix is expected, adding to the funding pressure. If you have to go for the funding and you don't have the deposit, then you have to go for the borrowing. So 10% increase that can be expected. Deposits are increasingly shifting funds from the bank deposit to the investments, which could lead to increase in the bank funding cost. Okay, so if deposits are driving away, so obviously ultimately they will increase the cost of the loan, or they will increase the, you can say, interest rate on the loan, so that they have to survive the system, or you can say they have to sustain the system. Long term constrained deposit growth and the increasing LDR could lead to margin pressure and affect the bank's liquidity and the key ratings. Okay, fifth suggests that evolving depositor preference, inflationary pressure and the capital markets performance will affect the bank's ability to maintain deposit growth. So which is there, until unless banks are providing a good alternative, they have to face these issues. Okay, so anything okay, fine. That is about the banks, and now we can move to the next one, that is what is Z-More tunnel, why it is strategically important. Now since we were talking about the issues in the Ladakh, and when we are talking about the right now this particular Z-More, that is also there in the Jammu and Kashmir and the Ladakh area. Okay, and from the securities point of view, or the, you can say, infrastructures point of view, these areas are important, because connectivity has been the issue. Right now we are having two roads which are connecting us to Leh. Okay, and these two roads are not all weather roads. Ultimately in the times of the winters, there will be a problem if you want to visit Leh, because of the you can say snowfall, because of the avalanches risk, etc. So there are high chances that these two roads will not be working at that point of time. To that they are going for an alternative. Okay, and that alternative is a all weather road. Okay, and in that we have one stretch, that is your Z-More. Okay, so if you can see in this particular picture, or in your own newspaper, you will be seeing that there is this particular stretch that is there, and road is something like this. Since road is of this shape, that is why it is called as Z-More. Okay, so that is there. Now let's see, it is on the Srinagar Leh highway. Okay, so let's see what is this. Now this Z-More was in news because of the terror attack which has happened recently. There was some people who has been gunned down in this particular region. Okay, militants shot dead 7 people in the Jammu and Kashmir's Gandarbal district on Sunday evening. The attackers opened fire at the campsite housing workers at APCO Infratech. When we are talking about this particular road project, that is under the, you can say, or the tender has been given to the APCO right now. Okay, a construction firm which is building the strategically vital Z-More tunnel on the Srinagar Leh highway. Okay, so this is the Srinagar Leh highway, which is basically a highway which we are creating with the all weather connectivity to Leh. Okay, so that is why it is strategic. Moving further, what is Z-More tunnel? It is a 6.4 kilometer tunnel which is connecting two areas, that is Kangan with the Sonmarg. Okay, these are areas in Jammu and Kashmir. So they are basically connecting these two. There is this town, that is your Kangan, and then there is this Sonmarg. Sonmarg is kind of a tourist place which is there. Okay, near the Gagangir village. Now you don't have to remember all these names, but the thing is, if you have them in your mind. Okay, there are chances, if at all they are somewhere in the UPSC or any kind of exam, if you have heard them, that will give you some kind of extra edge over there. So near Gagangir village, which is 10 kilometers from the Sonmarg, there is this stretch that is Z-shaped road, which is there, that is basically called as the Jed-Moor tunnel. Okay, in that particular stretch they are going for a tunnel. Now what is the importance of this particular tunnel? So obviously if tunnel is there, that means that connectivity issue is, we are not having the all weather connectivity. So why it is important? Because we are giving all weather connectivity because of this Jed-Moor tunnel. Okay, so let's see. The strategically vital Srinagar Leh highway, National Highway 1, is the only one of the two routes which are there. Okay, so one is this, that is your Srinagar Leh highway, that is National Highway 1, that is, and second is Manali Leh highway, that is National Highway number 3. Okay, now both of them, they are part of the this Zojila project is there, Zojila tunnel project is there. So Jed-Moor tunnel is part of your Zojila tunnel project, okay, which seeks to provide all weather connectivity between the Srinagar, Dras, Kargil and the Leh on National Highway number 1. Okay, so this National Highway number 1, we are having this Jed-Moor tunnel project, which is part of the Zojila tunnel project. Okay, and we are providing you all weather connectivity. So that is the importance of this particular tunnel. Now currently both National Highway 1 and National Highway 3 remain shut during the winters because of the risk of the snowfall, avalanches, etc. Okay, due to heavy snowfall and the threat of avalanches hampers the movement of the troops supplies to Ladakh, and Ladakh is strategically vital for India. That is given obviously when we are talking about the China issue. Okay, so Ladakh is strategically vital for India. There are two issues. One is with respect to Pakistan. When we talk about the Siachen area, that is also there, and when we talk about the Aksai Chin area, that is also there in Ladakh. So ultimately from the Pakistan as well as the, you can say, China's point of view, Ladakh is strategically important for us. Okay, Ladakh is strategically vital for India. Indian forces are deployed against Pakistan in Siachen Glacier and Turtuk subsector, which is which abuts the Baltistan in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Okay, there is this area that is Baltistan, which is there in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. This Pakistan occupied Kashmir is an illegal, you can say, kind of they have tried to take this particular area that is illegally occupied by Pakistan right now. This area belongs to India. Okay, it is just said that it is Pakistan occupied Kashmir, but this is larger part of the Kashmir and it is basically India's sovereignty is having. Okay, we are having sovereignty over there. Then moving further, there is also widespread deployment against China in eastern Ladakh, and more so since the 2020 issue, which we have just seen a few minutes back. Okay, so that is there. Then moving further, here you can see Zojila tunnel project, which is a 14-kilometer long under construction tunnel that at Zojila, Sonmarg in the Kashmir Valley to Dras in the Ladakh sector. You don't have to worry about all these things. Okay, this is not important for you. Just know that we are having two highways. From this article, what is the key takeaway? One is National Highway number 1. Okay, that is your Srinagar Leh highway. Okay, and second we have National Highway number 3, that is basically Manali Leh highway. Now both of these are basically shut in winters, and that is why we are having this Zojila tunnel project, and part this particular project has a part that is Jed-Moor tunnel project, which is providing all weather connectivity. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now this is to make all year you can say connectivity to this particular area. This will make it easy for the mobilization of the force in the time of the need. It will cut the cost associated with the air transport. As I told you, for the supply which we are sending to, you can say, Ladakh etc., we are taking air route. Okay, because in the winters you will be seeing that we do not have that kind of connectivity, so that cost will come down. That is there. When did the Jed-Moor tunnel project begin? That is in 2012. Earlier there was this BRO, Border Road Organization. They had the project under them and they have given it to this is Tunnelway Limited, and after that there is this body NHIDCL, that is your National Highway and Infrastructure Development Corporation Limited. They have taken over the project. Okay, right now this project is under the NHIDCL. Okay, and they have given the tender to another company, that is APCO Infratech, which we have talked about over here. Okay, so that is APCO Infratech. And after this particular project was supposed to be finished by 2023, but because of certain delay this could not. So this is ready for inauguration right now, but the thing is, because of the Jammu and Kashmir elections, there was this model code of conduct which was there in force, and that is why they could not inaugurate it. But soon this will be inaugurated, and we will be having an all weather connectivity to the Leh and Ladakh areas. Okay, so that is about this particular article. Now we can move further to the next one. Now, with respect to IR, Blinken heads to West Asia as US look to kickstart talks to end war in Gaza. Okay, so US Secretary of State, that is Anthony Blinken, he is basically visiting the Middle East again, and they are trying to go for the another truce, or the, you can say, peace proposal. What they are saying is that they want to end the issues in the Gaza area. Now Lebanon has also been part of it, so that is also there. So they want to start another peace process over here. US envoy holds talk in the Lebanon. Israel hits Hezbollah finances. So ultimately this issue is all going on. When issue started in October 7th, 2023, when Hamas attacked Israel, then Israel actually retaliated, okay, and they started a war against Hamas in Gaza Strip. Okay, Gaza Strip, an area which is basically dominated by Hamas. They have started this war that they will actually remove Hamas from this particular region. Okay, they will end the existence of Hamas in this region, but that was not very easy, because there was this now you can say 7 to 8 months has happened, or almost you can say 1 year has happened. Since then they are basically trying to have this war in this particular region, but you can say still it is going on. But because of these issues in Gaza, there are certain issues which has actually erupted in the region. One is on the northern border, that is with the Lebanon. Why? Because there are certain people who has actually moved at the time of the Nakba, when it has happened in 1948. There are few Palestinians which has actually moved from Israel area to the, you can say, Lebanon. Okay, so southern Lebanon is the territory where they were having this prominence. Okay, so there was this issue between Lebanon and the Israel on the northern border of the Israel. Okay, so that is there. Other than that, there are issues which are rising with respect to Iran as well. Okay, so that is also second thing. When we talk about the Lebanon, mostly it is with the Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a group which is supporting the Palestinian population. Then we are having this Houthis of Yemen, which are also supported by Iran. Both these groups, Hezbollah and Houthis, they are basically supported by Iran. Okay, now considering all these things which has happened, now they are saying that they will be going for the peace talks. Okay, so that is there. Okay, and they are saying that the Blinken will discuss with the regional leaders the importance of the ending the war in Gaza. Okay, so that is one thing. Second, post conflict plan for the Palestinian enclave. Okay, so that is the two things they are having this you can say on the agenda. Okay, it is to see that how to reach a diplomatic solution to the conflict between Israel and the Hezbollah as well. Okay, so that is there. Here you can say there was no alternative to an 2006 resolution. There was this one thing which has been mentioned in this particular article, that is UN resolution 1701. Okay, when in 2006 Israel left Lebanon, at that point of time there was a buffer zone which was created. Okay, so there was this you can say UN resolution which was there in news. So let's see over here. Caretaker Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati has said that there are no alternative to a 2006 UN resolution on security in the South Lebanon when actually Israel was living. And South Lebanon, why? Because Israel has entered into Lebanon at that point of time, and they have actually put their bases over there. Okay, then a UN peacekeepers mission was mandated by the Security Council Resolution 1701 to help Lebanon's army keep its southern border area with the Israel free from the weapons or the armed personnel other than those of the Lebanese state. Okay, but Israel says that it was never honored with the Hezbollah, and there was this conflicting situations which were there. So ultimately they are saying that in 2006 they did not have any other option but to keep UN peacekeepers over here. Now UN peacekeeping is a force which is basically responsible for the peace etc. in the areas where these conflicts are there. So this resolution 1701 was the resolution which kept the UN peacekeepers in the southern part of Lebanon. Okay, So that was the thing which was there at that point of time. So please just remember that what is UN resolution 1701, which is given over here. If you want to read it, you can read it again over here. Okay. Now we can move further with the next part, that is passing references. No documentary proof of Hasina's resignation as PM, says the president. The president over here in Bangladesh, they are saying that Sheikh Hasina's resignation, when we talk about the documentary evidence, there is no presence of such evidence. Okay, so there might be these speculations that she has given the resignation and fled. Okay, but the thing is, there is no documentary evidence of such resignation that is there. This is just one argumentative statement which I have told you, that is all. Okay, moving further, here you can say 100% evacuation, says Odisha government as cyclone Dana nears. Okay, this cyclone is actually, you know, moving towards the eastern coast of India, okay, on the coast of Odisha, etc. We do not know exactly where it will hit, but the thing is, it is considered that this cyclone will be of a severe nature, okay, and that is why there will be heavy rainfall, etc. So the government has said that 100% evacuation should be done. Okay, recently there was this visit to the Puri by our president, which was scheduled, but that has also been postponed. Okay, so that is about these passing references. For your own read, there is this article, the population question. Recently in the states like Andhra Pradesh, they are saying that they want to have a policy wherein they can go for more than two child, because right now their children, sorry, right now their population is seeing that the, you can say, because of the less fertility rate or the less you can say population or less number of births, they are saying that there are fears that their population might not be young for, you know, long time. Ultimately the number of old people will increase, and that is kind of a burden on the state. Okay, so ultimately considering that, they will be looking at some kind of you can say alternatives. So you can go through this particular article. Okay, now why is that they are looking at, you know, going for beyond 2 kids? Already India has a big population, because the thing is, when we are talking about the aging population cannot work. You need to have a workforce, okay, and workforce is built of the young people. Okay, and for that you need to have the young people, and that is why these issue of the population and the, you must have heard about the demographic winter or demographic shrinkage or demographic dividend. So these are the terms which were there in the discourses. One is demographic dividend. That is means that when you have the young population which will give you a benefit, that is your demographic dividend. Okay, then second is demographic winter. When there is this population or the young people's population is declining, and you can say that the population of old people is increasing, that is basically demographic winter. Now this is the term which has been asked in the UPSC's mains examination this time, that is demographic winter. Okay, so please go through this article, that will be beneficial. And in the end we are having this MCQ. What is one of the main reason the Depsang plains are strategically important to India? Okay, presence of the valuable natural resources, proximity to the Daulat Beg Oldie post near the Karakoram Pass, high population density in the region, and the control over the major trade routes with the Central Asia. Okay, so you can attempt this question and answer to me in the comment box. Okay, with that I would like to take your leave. Okay, I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Thank you, and please subscribe the channel.